DMC to KING. I'ma say this once, I ain't gonna say it again. DMC in the place to be, and the place for you to be is right here with Fred White. Tales from the pen. Yeah, that's it.
Salute, people. I told you we have part 2 loaded up, ready to go. I told you. Hope you enjoy part 2, C74, coming your way right now. And I got part 3 ready to go too. Here's what needs to happen. We need 1,000 views on part 1 of C74, and we need 1,000 views on part 2 of C74. That's it. And you get part 3. Real simple. Enjoy part 2. Here we go. Because there have been times that people have had my back, you know, throughout the years. And there's been a few times, you know, people have turned their back on me. But I've met a lot of good people early in Rikers Island. And then we all went upstate together and spread out and then ended up meeting up again. A lot of dudes. You know, I spoke earlier about my boy Du from Rikers Island. You know, my boy Oscar, I tell you about. My boy Jeff, J-Rock, 141st in Cypress up there. Shag. You know, dudes that I still know today. Shout out to my man Rome. You know, guys I still know on Facebook, guys I still associate with. You know, guys that we all came through the system together. So this, you know, some people, again, you form little bonds sometimes with certain people. That's just how it goes. Just a handful. Then, you got to worry about the officers. I told you that. You had officers there, you know, pretty much in every house, the steady officer had his goon squad. So you come in and the police don't like you, just give the nod and these dudes will fuck you up. These dudes will fuck you up for the police. Pretty much every steady officer had a goon squad. Every house. Usually the dudes who was running the phones, or usually the dudes who was house gang. That was just the name of it. It was called house gang. They were like the cleanup crew. During counts when everybody's locked in, there's a few select 5, 6 people that are out cleaning. Really, they're just watching TV or using the phones when others aren't. House gang. They clean the showers, sweep, mop. House gang. Those are the guys that are usually the hit team. Really. You know, pretty much everywhere. There's been numerous times when officers have been indicted. Because you know, you gotta realize, they're from the area, they're from the boroughs. So 90% of the time, they knew what was going on. They would let dudes jump dudes, beat the fuck out of dudes, do whatever to dudes, and they don't see nothing. And God forbid you had a fucked up crime. I remember this one kid, we'll call him Smurf. He came through from the Bronx. He had a horrific crime that was in the news. When he came through, he had a rough time. But he always alleged what happened was it was like 4 or 5 of them. And they hemmed up one of the kids' boss. He didn't pay him or something, so he rounded up. So it was like 4 or 5 of them. And when the guy got in the car, they choked him out. And then they took his keys. Not only did they kill him, but then they took his keys. And then they went to his house. They knew where he lived, where his wife and his daughter were. And they went in and sodomized and raped the mom and the daughter. I think the daughter was like 12, 13, something like that. So when he came through, he had a rough time. Like, everywhere he went, he got the shit beat out of him. And the other kids was all adolescents, juveniles. So they didn't get to hit Rikers Island. They were in Spofford. They were 14 and 15. He was the only one above 16. 16 he was, 17 maybe. Everywhere he went, but he always maintained that he didn't go to the house and do what was reported. Always maintained that. Took his lumps, he fought back. He wasn't no sucker. He fought back, but he had a fucked up crime, so. But he held his own, you know what I mean? For somebody like that. And he always maintained he didn't do it. The other kids took cop-outs. They got like 6, 7 years, 8 years, something like that, nothing. They were juveniles. So whatever it was, they got minimal time for that crime. Smurf said, fuck that, I'm going to trial. He went to trial, and he beat. Because he really wasn't there. He really did not go with them, with the rest of them. He didn't. And he always wanted to just maintain that. He always just wanted that to be known. I didn't do that. I was there when they killed the guy. He was there. He got 38 to life. I mean, so when you got a horrific crime, that shit follows you. That shit follows you wherever you go. But he beat that part, which saved him. Inevitably, right? It still saved his life in the penitentiary. Because now that was off his jacket. You know, what they did, what they went off and did, that's what they went off and did. He was there for what happened initially. He got 38 in life for that. There's a lot of lessons in that one, kids. You're there. You're part of that 4 or 5, even if he wasn't the one choking him. I think they choked him with like shoelaces or something like that. Choked the guy with something like that. And I think stabbed the guy. I'm not sure. Something like along those lines. Happened in the Bronx. Major case. He was there 38 years. And then they went off and did that, and he almost got tied into that would have been a death sentence for him. He would have had to be in, he would have had to been in Clinton APPU forever, protective custody, never come out. But he got that off his jacket. But still, kids, big lesson there. You're there, you're going down too. And you may suffer like he did, because he suffered hard. I mean, everywhere he went, he got beat up, jumped, stabbed, cut, blanket parties, locks in the sock, beat over the head, soaps in the socks, beat over, I mean, everywhere he went. Wherever house he went, they couldn't protect him anyway. Even protected, he couldn't go nowhere. So, especially if you had a fucked up crime, Rikers Island was not the place for you. But Rikers Island is not the place for anybody. Rikers Island is not the place for anything or anybody. I seen in the news the other day, they released a bunch of people from Rikers Island. Parole violators. With petty violations, maybe a dirty urine, or, maybe coming home at 12 o'clock and their curfew is 11 and they're locking people up. Things like that. I don't know. Smoking a little weed. I don't know what they're getting locked up of, but for minimal things, people were getting locked up. That's why I'm so glad I'm off parole. Parole was such a hindrance. They could come knock at your door at any time. They could literally come walk in, and where do you sleep? They'll come walk into your area. They can go through your drawers, like your privacy. You still have no privacy. Even though you're out of prison, you're still not. When you know that they could come knocking at your door at any time. Am I complaining? No, I'm explaining. For these kids who think this, this life is, the street life is, it's about something. I'm trying to show these kids that when they go to C-74, it's going to be a whole different world. And now, it's a whole different world with all this gang life and everything that's going on in there now. Things is a little different. You hear this, kids? You're going to have to go in and put on. Or else. So to avoid all that, stay in school. To avoid all that, find yourself a trade. To avoid all that, stay out the streets. The streets is a trap. Like a mouse trap. The mice come, boom, they get stuck. And they can't get out. They can't get out of that life. They can't get out of that glue trap. And they end up dying right there in that trap. Just like our babies are dying in the streets. It's a trap. It's not real. Rikers Island is very real. You got officers running around like Barr in C-74. Officer Barr, anybody that been in C-74 know who Officer Barr is. Barr used to run around and smack the shit. I seen him smack dudes and knock them the fuck out. Bam! Shut the fuck up. And nobody did shit. Nobody did nothing. Most of the time, Barr was 4-upper. Which was crazy. That house was nuts. Because back then, you were able to cut somebody and get 30 days. Then later on a little bit, they started with the new charges. You cut somebody, then they take you out and they give you a new charge. You get a new 1 to 3. But if you had 25 to life, or you were facing 25 to life, and you knew you were going to jail for, and you're 16, 17, what's 1 to 3? Who gives a shit? Right? And that was a lot of people's mentalities. And this is the people that I had to live around. People that had no qualms cutting your face and being recharged. In other words, what they do is they come and they rearrest you. And they take you to Bronx criminal court. And you are charged with whatever you're charged with. And 90% of the time, you're offered a 1 to 3 and you take it. Some dudes have 2, 3, 4 cuttings before they're sentenced, and they just put them all together. 1 to 3, or the runners, give them a 2 to 6. But when you have 30 years, 40 years, and you're that young, you don't give a shit about another year. Who cares? You're just trying to get that rep solidified. And this is the people that surround you. These are the people that are around you. People that will cut you and then laugh about it. Malicious people. People who play cards for knuckles. Two, 3 knuckles, you lose the game, you put your hand out, and you grab the deck of cards and you hit it. Boom! Then you had dudes who played knuckles with a bar of soap. Bam! You lose. You get 10 knuckles with this bar of soap. What? And these people are doing it. I've seen knuckles played, and the dude hit another dude with the scrub brush. Scrub brush on the stick. They take the stick off. It was a wood. Boom, broke his hand. I mean, and dudes laugh about that shit. Oh shit. Dudes sit around and wait to see who's gonna, what, you know. I've also seen shit jump off because dudes like, man, fuck that. You're not hitting my hand with no fucking bars of soap, even though they lost. Oh, you're not gonna pay? I've seen it. I've seen somebody I know major rip like this down this way. Gotta make the sign of the cross because you're never supposed to mark yourself. You see what I just did? That's called marking yourself. In jail, you're never supposed to do that. You see, I just taught you something. Like when you talk about marking, it's like when you say somebody has a cut. You see, I just marked myself. Now you have to do the sign of the cross. This is jail politics. This is what I learned. This is what I learned, kids. I learned that if you mark yourself, you have to do the sign of the cross. And then that means it won't happen. This is the morals and standards I was learning when I should have been in dodgeball class in 11th grade. C-74. Adolescence at War. That song was for a reason. That song really signified adolescence at war. Because literally, I used to walk through blood-stained, soaked walls in the hallway. Everywhere you went, there was a fight. Everywhere you went, there was a cutting. There was never a dull moment on Rikers Island. Never. There was always something going on. There was always somebody vying for some type of position. There was always someone trying to rob somebody else. There was people who would, you know, dudes fall asleep and dudes would light their clothes on fire or take some tissue, wrap it around, and burn them. And while they're asleep, oh, these motherfuckers wake up, their sneakers is on fire. And motherfuckers is over there laughing, hee hee hee. Wait, what? That's what Rikers Island is. Rikers Island is where you always have to look over your shoulders. Especially when you're coming out of commissary with that big bag. Because them bandits be sitting on the side right there. Them bandits is waiting for you to fill your bag up. Spit that razor out. Just cut your bag. Everything just start going on the floor. It'd be like a fucking pinata. You know what I'm saying? Like you ever see at a baby party when they're hitting the sheet and the candy open and the frenzy that happens? I've seen it in the hallway with chips and honey buns.